And now a conversation with Ned Staebler, Vice President, Capital Access and Business Acceleration, Michigan Economic Development Corporation.
Welcome, Ned.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks for having me.
Great to be here. And how are things in Michigan these days?
Well, things are doing just fine in Michigan, contrary to popular opinion, I think.
And I understand that MEDC, which is your acronym, is really charged with re-stimulating the job economy in Michigan, especially around innovation.
Yeah, the MEDC is the state's economic development agency. While we're actually a public-private partnership, we really work as a traditional economic development agency at any other state, doing all the roles and functions that you'd expect from one.
And you have a special role within the agency.
Yeah, so our group, the Capital Access and Business Acceleration Group, is really charged with making sure that a business at any stage of development, whether you're two guys in a garage or a scientist in a lab or an auto supplier looking to make a transition into a new line of work, has access to the capital they need to grow and create jobs.
And are you getting a lot more guys in the garage and engineers who have been laid off coming to you asking for access to capital these days?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the current recession has led to a huge rise in the amount of entrepreneurship that's going on in Michigan. We call them accidental entrepreneurs, and they are coming out of the woodwork in a real positive sign for things in the state.
And what are the fundamental challenges that these entrepreneurs have that are accidental in order to really test the theory of whether they have something that is a commercializable idea?
Capital is certainly one issue for everyone, but it's not necessarily the most important one. It's one that we address, but we also work on some of the fundamental building blocks of how to create a business as well, because a lot of folks have been in a big company for many, many years, and it's very different to be in an entrepreneurial venture where you are the marketing department, the HR department, the advertising wing, and everything all rolled up into one. So we really try to help them get access to those skills as well.
So a lot of the people who are listening to us right now are engineers who might want to become entrepreneurs. They generally have the technical skills, but they don't have access to a lot of those other resources you just mentioned. How do you connect those two?
We have a regional set of what we call smart zones. They are collaborations between universities, business, and local governments to create business accelerators all over the state. There are 15 of them now in Michigan, all over the state, and they provide those types of services, and they're really tailored to what each region of the state needs. So in Southwest Michigan, they might be more life science focused and focused in, say, orthopedics. There are a lot of folks that can build medical devices over there. In the Detroit area, there are a lot of folks that are advanced auto and advanced manufacturing related. So they'll have more services geared toward those folks.
So I've got an idea. I want to try to access your capital. What are the steps I have to go through to get into your system?
So the first step I would recommend is going to our website, which is michiganadvantage.org, and taking a look at the full suite of programs that we have designed to help you.
And are all your programs basically government focused, or do you have private-public partnership programs where you work with industry or the private investors as well?
As much as possible, we try to get the private sector involved for a couple of reasons. One, it's what the private sector does best. And two, we want to expand the access and scope of the private sector capital that's available. So we have programs designed to work with local angel investors, local venture capitalists, and local banks, both regional, national, and community banks, to try to help them provide the capital in these spaces that they might not be providing today.
So engineers and entrepreneurs come from all walks of life. What about those who might be in an academic institution that would like to look at commercializing something they've done research on in the university? That's
a really great question, especially in a state like Michigan, where we have one of the world's largest research clusters through universities. Our three biggest research universities in Michigan are as big as any others in the world in terms of how much research they do. The University of Michigan did $1 billion of federally funded research just last year alone. The first time ever they've hit that number. So we have a number of programs that run through their tech transfer offices and their offices of research to help them commercialize technology. So sometimes it's early money, the first getting to know faster, and that's know with a K or know just N-O, faster, of $50,000 to $200,000. And it could be helping you license your IP through the university and really get it out to the market quicker. When you're trying to transition the culture of a state into an entrepreneurial culture, you need three things. You need ideas, you need capital, and you need talent. Well, Michigan has no shortage of ideas. We're generally in the top 3 or 4 in terms of the number of patents filed and the amount of research done, both at the universities as well as in the private sector. The capital situation is certainly growing, and the state's spent a lot of time and resources on that area. We now have 2 big fund-to-funds programs investing $200 million into early stage ventures in the state. The talent component is the hardest one to address, but one that we're seeing grow, because you really need to create that critical mass of entrepreneurial talent, which is a little different than the kind of talent you see in big companies. And to do that, we're helping to train hundreds of new entrepreneurs. The Kauffman Foundation has come in and is expanding their Fast Track program. They granted $5 million to TechTown, which is the business accelerator in the city of Detroit, to help 1,000 entrepreneurs go through their Fast Track program. And the state, along with a couple of other foundations in the state, are expanding that statewide over the next couple of years. So we're helping to really fill that talent gap, which is crucial.
Let's get back to Michigan. Why is it that Michigan is the best place in the United States to grow an entrepreneurial technology business today?
Entrepreneurship is in our DNA in Michigan. More than 100 years ago, at the turn of the 20th century, there were 300 auto manufacturers in Michigan. And I don't mean suppliers, I mean 300 people that actually made and sold cars. We were the Silicon Valley at the start of the 20th century with thousands of entrepreneurial businesses. They were in advanced automotive and manufacturing. And of course, over the next 100 years, we're a little bit of a victim of our own success. But as a result, we have a great base from which to build the entrepreneurs of the 21st century. There are 300 advanced automotive research and development centers in Michigan. That's more than every other state added up, or any other state in the country. We have a great labor force that's trained through our community college and university system. And of course, we have the thousands of private sector employers that are doing research and operating in that space. So we have a really great base from which to grow, and it's in our DNA to be entrepreneurial.
We want to thank Ned Staebler, Vice President for Capital Access and Acceleration for the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, for being on ASME Innovates today.
Thanks, Rich.